Hey, truth seekers, welcome back. Zach here. We have another major coincidence. Today, November 10th, 2016, the president-elect, Donald Trump, met with Barack Obama, the sitting president, at the White House. And also today, the president met with the Cleveland Cavaliers, who won the NBA Finals June 19th of this year. LeBron James, nicknamed King James, won on the real King James's birthday, June 19th. Donald Trump, starting July 18th, would have his GOP convention in Cleveland in the same building the Cavs play at. Now, both of them at the White House today, and we're going to talk about why it happened today. Again, your professional sports are scripted. Your elections are scripted. We're living out a rigged agenda. All of these things that were put through, the fake sports, the rigged elections, it's all a show. It's all part of the grand deception we live in. The things that steal our time and energy that we as a people need to stop investing in. Stop investing in fake rigged sports. Stop investing in predetermined elections. Let's organize as a people and put an end to all this madness. So check this out. Today's November 10th. 11/10 or 10/11, depending on where you are. That date has 3 ones in it and a 0. In numerology, that's pretty much the same as 111. The team that won the NBA Finals is at the White House on November 10th. See it? NBA Finals 111, November 10th. Something you need to know about Obama is he's born August 4th, which is the 216th day of the year. Cleveland is home of the 216 area code. Again, the Cavs from Cleveland won the NBA championship. That's why they're at the White House today. Donald Trump, he had his campaign in Cleveland. So Obama's birthday, August 4th, the 216th day of the year. The name Barack in English gematria sums to 216. Interestingly enough, the name Obama in Jewish gematria sums to 84, like his date of birth, 8/4. Of course, United States of America in Pythagorean gematria equals 84. The United States of America, very much like the book 1984, written after World War II, if you've never read it. 216, it is the product of 6 times 6 times 6. 6 times 6 times 6 equals 216. The NBA Finals in English Sumerian gematria, where you multiply times 6, it's 111 times 6. The NBA Finals also 666. With regards to Obama and that number being coded on him, he's from the land of Lincoln. Lincoln had an assassination attempt on him February 23rd, 1861. He would be shot exactly 216 weeks later, 216. Very important number in Kabbalah, Jewish mysticism. From Obama's birthday to today is 98 days. Notice the way CNN had this phrased. You know, basketball's supposed to be a team sport. How does CNN's headline read? Obama welcomes LeBron James, Cavs. You know, who cares about the rest of the team? On LeBron James' shoulder is tattooed the word chosen one. Chosen one in gematria equals 98. Today is 98 days from Obama's birthday, August 4th. 8-4. Again, United States of America equals 84. LeBron James was born in the year 84 on the date December 30th. You might recall the final week of the NBA Finals, LeBron James was referred to as the Godfather, Godfather 84. Jesuit equals 84. The Jesuits have much influence over professional sports. It seems especially basketball. Look at how many players in the NBA went to Jesuit high schools, Jesuit colleges. Donald Trump went to Jesuit Fordham. Donald Trump went to a Jesuit school. The Jesuits are within the Catholic Church, the branch of Christianity that made the Christian day of worship Sunday. In the Bible it says Saturday. Over many years, the Catholic Church made it Sunday. Sunday has that gematria of 84 like Jesuit. Right now we have the first Jesuit Pope of the United States, Pope Francis. Or not of the United States, first Catholic Pope, Pope Francis. First Jesuit, his birth numerology, also 84. Recall he visited the United States last year, 2015. He left Philadelphia on the Jesuit order's birthday. In an appropriate span of days after, the Catholic school outside of Philadelphia, Villanova, won the championship. Major tribute to the Jesuit order. College sports are rigged. Pro sports are rigged. Your elections are rigged. It's all a script. 84, special number to the history of this nation, United States of America, Revolutionary War, the Twilight Zone. For a year and a half, I've been showing the parallels between Donald Trump's name and George Washington, who came out of the American Revolution. CNN shot, I love how they get the two pillars in, the two pillars of Freemasonry. Freemasons believe in divide and conquer. Love that duality symbolism. In a moment, we'll look at Trump and Obama. Today's date, the date this is happening, date with 57 numerology. The Cavs won 57 games in the regular season this year. 57 is the number connected to championships. World Series equals 57. The World Series just began in Cleveland, won by the Cubs, Hillary's team. World Series 57. When you write out 57, it sums to 131, just like championship, just like Super Bowl. 57 also connects to Scottish Rite. George Washington was inaugurated at age 57. So many presidents have been inaugurated at age 57. Special number to the history of the presidency. Scottish Rite Freemasonry. Donald Trump, his mother from Scotland. We just saw the Cubs win with Theo Epstein in control. Game 7 was 57 days before Theo Epstein's upcoming birthday, his 43rd. He's from Yale. He's part of Skull and Bones. Yale equals 43. Reason why George W. Bush, the Skull and Bones member, was the 43rd president of the United States, in part elected in thanks to his brother, the governor of Florida, the 43rd governor, their father, the 43rd vice president. They're all from Yale, New Haven, Connecticut. Well, Jeb didn't go there, but the two presidents did. From the date the Cavs won the championship, June 19th, the real King James's birthday, to today is 144 days. Special number in time, the word time in Jewish gematria equals 144. If you take the first 144 decimal points of pi, you know, the number you learned about having to do with cycles and circles, the first 144 decimal points of pi sum to 666. 144 and 666 are both numbers from Revelation, the book of prophecy, the final book of the Bible. Earlier this year, I showed the parallels between the Super Bowl and the NBA Finals, the white Broncos, the calves, horses, horse symbolism, horses of the apocalypse, Revelation. I also showed how when the Broncos visited the White House, they visited 121 days after they won the Super Bowl. Revelation equals 121. The Super Bowl was won on the 121st meridian. So anyway, 144, 666, they have this relationship. The Cavs coming 144 days after winning the NBA Finals. 144 also has a relationship with 44. All throughout history, these numbers 44 and 144 have been connected to deaths and assassination, also major accomplishments. In the history of the presidency, the first president to die in office died on April 4th. When you write out April 4th, it sums to 144, just like when you write out 44. Lincoln dreamt on April 4th, 1865, that he would be shot. He would be shot 10 days later on April 14th, 14/4. JFK was killed on the first day of Sagittarius, gematria of 144. Think about the movie Vantage Point, about a presidential assassination. The first president to die in office, William Henry Harrison, died April 4th. So did Martin Luther King Jr. Again, think about April 4th, 4/4, a lot like 44. Obama's the 44th president. Donald Trump's going to be number 45, but he's only going to be the 44th person to be president. The word birther equals 44. Think about the birther argument, Trump, Obama, the transition between these two. It's all scripted theatrics, mocking us all. The first presidential assassination was Abraham Lincoln. Abraham equals 44. Again, 44 and 144, what are connected to deaths and assassination. Kill equals 44. Hope 44. Abraham 44. Shooting 44. I should mention that Bobby Kennedy, who was running for president, died at 1:44 in the morning on June 6th, 6/6. Revelation, the 66th book of the Bible. Robert Kennedy equals 66. So does Sirhan. From the day Trump had his convention start in Cleveland to today is 115 days. He's going to be the first president of the 115th Congress. We'll talk about the book he published in 2000 on January 15th, where he wrote that Osama bin Laden would attack the World Trade Centers. Book came out in the beginning of 2000, January 15th, 115. Now about to be the president overseeing the 115th Congress. JFK was killed on a date with 115 numerology. Freemasons, the plural, equals 115. So does killing. Masonic has the same gematria as killing as well. Trump began his campaign June 16th. Some people say 616 is the real 666. That date can also be written 16/6. The White House equals 166. Secret Society 166. You got to be in the secret society known as Freemasonry to be in the White House. Trump and Obama doing their Masonic shake today. From June 16th to November 8th, date of the election, 511 days, the reflection of 115. Trump's campaign start to Election Day. The two pillars, the two stooges, the red and the blue, the Masonic colors. Donald Trump registered as a Democrat until the year 2009. Remember how he wore blue for the first election and Hillary wore red? You're being mocked, people. You're not seeing it. Notice just even this thing down here about 48%. Donald Trump equals 48. So does the word wall. Donald Trump announced as the 45th president on November 9th, the 27-year anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall. Berlin Wall equals 45, like 45th president. The night of the election, Cleveland got their first loss. They lost with 106. The Hawks got 110. That's a sum of 216 points. It's just like Game 6 of the NBA Finals, the last in Cleveland. It summed 216 points. The Hawks, they had 110. Very interesting. Trump was at Rockefeller Plaza. Rockefeller 110. The World Trade Centers they built were 110 stories tall. The word president's 110. The word prophecy is 106. The Cavs, they won the NBA Finals this year on the 106th Father's Day ever. It was also the King James's birthday. King James was born with 106 birth numerology. It was the Warriors' 106th game of the season. It was in Oracle Arena. Oracle, future telling. Oracle Arena is literally 106 feet tall. The Warriors are also originally from Philadelphia. Hillary had her campaign in Philadelphia. It began July 25th, exactly 106 days before Election Day. Warriors lost in their 106th game to Cleveland. Hillary ended up losing to Donald Trump after having her convention in Philadelphia, the original home of the Warriors, 106 days before the election. Some parallels there. Also, with regards to the Cavs playing the team from Georgia, Georgia's one of two states with a 44 gematria. 44, Obama number 44, Donald Trump about to be the 44th person to be president, because Grover Cleveland was 22 and 24, messing up the count ever since. Also, Atlanta's on the 33rd parallel, the 84th meridian. Numbers on the election: Clinton 33, voting 33, order, federal, secrecy, masonry. Obama said he called Trump at 3:30 in the morning, November 9th, remember? With regards to 84th meridian, Trump's a Jesuit, United States of America, symbolism. Also November 8th, the other game score that stood out to me were the Timberwolves, who are from the only state that sums to 110. They lost with 110, and they lost to the New Jersey Nets. When you think of New Jersey, you think of Donald Trump. Look how many points they had. Both teams scored 33 in the first quarter. Number of the Freemasons. Nets even scored 33 in the second quarter. Trump would get elected November 9th, 11/9, Star of David 119, All-Seeing Eye 119, Master Plan, numbers of the Freemasons, the Zionist Jews who run your NBA, who run your media, who run your government, who run your rigged elections, Hollywood, the rest of it. Fox News has this up this morning: come together. Emphasized come together 62, like Cleveland, Ohio, like Mason, two Freemasons. What else I thought of is this. This is something I documented earlier this year. The Warriors won 88 games this year. Steph Curry, their star player, when I say they won 88 games, I mean 73 in the regular season, the record, and then 15 more in the playoffs. March 14th, which is Steph Curry's birthday, to June 10th is 88 days. The Warriors won their 88th and final game that day. Then the Cavs came back from being down 3-1. Notice that date was 10-6, like prophecy. 88 days, Trump 88, the basketball game very much synced up with the elections, which I pointed out. Historically, though, when the East wins, a Democrat is elected. Perhaps that's the joke. Donald Trump's the real Democrat between the two. You know, Hillary Clinton, you can't separate her from the Bush administration Republicans. She has the same voting record. Donald Trump, he spoke out more against the Bush administration than Hillary, if you will. Of course, he's more of a pig man, but that's another topic. Anyway, one of my smart subscribers, he wrote this comment. He noticed Donald Trump's book, The America We Deserve, published January 15th. You know, in this book, he writes that Osama bin Laden, by the way, Osama bin Laden equals 110, like Rockefeller, like President, blamed for taking down the 110-story World Trade Centers. In this book, I just put out a video on this. ABC News reported how in this book he writes about how Osama bin Laden's going to attack the World Trade Centers. He brings up the 93 World Trade Center bombing. He says it's going to be a lot bigger. It's coming soon. Came out, you know, how many months before? 20 months before September 11th, this book came out. The America We Deserve also has gematria of 90. When you write out 90 as a word, it sums to 33. If you watch Trump and Obama meet today, one of the first things Trump says is, we met for about 90 minutes. And then he babbles on nonsensically for another minute saying absolutely nothing. You know? Which is typical for Donald Trump. He just likes to babble on like a bad salesman and nothing really comes out of his mouth. Also, CNN is keeping up all day that Trump is leading by 58 electoral votes, despite losing the popular count by a couple 100,000. 58 is important because this was the 58th presidential election. They happen every 4 years. Freemasonry 58, Secret Society 58, Trump Tower in Hell's Kitchen where Hillary and Donald are, it's 58 stories. I'm thinking about that more. Freemasonry, you know, there is the female branch, but traditional Freemasonry is men only. This was the 58th election, and a man won. Really might have been Donald all this time, you know? They gave us all these stories about how historically when this sports team wins, it's a Democrat. We've gotten so many stories like that, from the NBA Finals to the World Series to college football, LSU and Alabama this weekend, plus so many other things. I showed you the UFC fight where Donald got knocked down in 66 seconds the night Hillary was on the stage. There's just been so much foreshadowing for Hillary to win. I really do think they went with Plan B at the last minute. Have you guys seen these covers of Time? Close out with this. The end is near. Time gave us this. Time magazine. Remember, Time has the same gematria as president. Same gematria as agent. The end is near. The end is near in gematria also sums to 68, like Donald John Trump. 68, that special year that a major agenda went into place. The September 11th plan for 2001 and so much more. Never seen my work on 9/11 and 68, check it out. Donald John Trump, 68, coded into the cover. The end is near. The end is near reminds us of Revelation, the book of prophecy, the end of the world as we know it. Trumpets are the warnings in Revelation. Trumpets is the ticket here. The end is near from Time magazine. Unreal. It's almost as scary as this cover right here. Donald Trump, President-elect, November 9th, 2016. Donald Trump, 48, Wall 48. Notice it's been 48 years since 1968. Berlin Wall 45, 45th president, announced on the fall of the anniversary of the Berlin Wall. You can't see how we're being mocked by the New World Order, the One World Order. By the way, we began with the 111 symbolism. One World Order. When you triple that digit, you're magnifying the power. Hillary, Trump, One World Order candidates. Also, what made me laugh, the day of the election, November 8th, headline in Vanity Fair, Seth Rogen is unveiling the secrets of the Illuminati. This didn't come out on November 8th by accident. I want you to see that Illuminati in gematria sums to 48, just like Hollywood, just like propaganda, just like Donald Trump, just like Seth Rogen, just like evil, just like hoax. And this is how we're ruled. By hoax, by nonstop propaganda, agents, liars, deceivers, actors. So there it is, Truth Seeker. That's why the Cavs and Donald Trump are at the White House today. If you missed my video on the way the Broncos visited, why they went there on June 6th, 6-6. Again, Revelation, the 66th book. NFL and Jewish Gematria equals 66. First Super Bowl at the end of the 66 season. I'll link that video in the description. This world is run by the numbers because the Freemasons are running the show and forcing it this way, in our face, expecting us to think that it's all a coincidence. And oh, by the way, the word coincidence in Gematria sums to 84. And here in the United States of America, so many people explain things such as this with that word, dismissing what is obvious, that we're being duped, we're being mocked, we're living out a script. Until next time.